Botsumux fans? This is Scorp1701, and tonight we are going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends X-Men, the animated series VHS Cyclops. And we have not took a look at a Marvel Legend X-Men on this channel for almost a year, back when we did the Target exclusive retro carded Gambit, and before him we did the Rogue of the same line. When it comes to Cyclops, we haven't looked at a Cyclops in almost 3 years when I did the Love Triangle 3-pack with Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean Grey. So I guess it's about time that we took a look at another one. And I think that this is going to be the best Cyclops that we've ever had a chance to look at on the channel. Of course, we've only did the one with the Love Triangle 3-pack, but hey, if you're doing the best there is, there's no need to do that many. Alright, taking a look at the packaging. The packaging is set up to resemble an old VHS style box. And kids, if you don't know what a VHS style box is sort of like a DVD, but it was like a set thing, and it was rectangular, and you would put it in the machine, and you'd have to rewind it and fast forward it, and it was, you know, a lot more cumbersome. So, but anyway, they came in boxes that look like this, and I think it's a neat little retro touch. All right. So you have Marvel Comics up here with a picture of Cyclops' head. You have X-Men, Marvel, Cyclops. You have warnings, and you have plastic-free packaging, except tape and glue and the product that's completely plastic inside. You have Hasbro. On this side of the box, you have Marvel Comics, Cyclops' head. You have X-Men, Cyclops, MVL Legends, which would be Marvel Legends. And on this side of the box, you have pretty much the same thing. On the top of the box, you have X-Men, Marvel, Cyclops. On the bottom of the box, you have some credits for the box and some more plastic-free packaging notices. On the back of the box, you have an awesome product shot of Cyclops, X-Men, Marvel, Cyclops, and a brief read-up. So we can zoom in and we can take a look at that. You can pause the video, read that to your heart's content. But we must be moving out and onward. On the bottom of the back, you see some more credits for the box and a barcode. And that is pretty much it for the box. So I don't want to see this box. I want to open it up and see if Cyclops is actually in there, because again, there is no window, so I don't know if he's in there or not. But I did get this directly from Hasbro Pulse, so hopefully he's gonna be in there. Alright, let's get him open and see what this guy can do. And here we have Cyclops out of the box, and out of the box he stands approximately 6.5 inches tall, and he looks fantastic. And we'll get a little closer look at him in just a moment, but taking a look, he does have some accessory hands that comes with him. He has 3 accessories, and they are just basic hands. He comes equipped with 2 fisted hands if he needs to do some punching, and the extra hands includes a set of grabby type hands. You know, one is open more, and then one's not slightly less open, so that's okay. And then he has a third hand, which is basically a visor button pressing hand. So he could sit there and press his visor and zap, 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 zap. So that is really neat. And as far as accessories, that is it. Now, I wouldn't have been sad if they put some optic blasts in here. They've done that maybe once or twice, but never seem to give us those with the Jim Lee Cyclops. So anyway, let's take a closer look at Cyclops himself. And coming real close in on Cyclops, you can see they gave us a brand new head sculpt as well as a body mold from the previous Cyclopses that we got in the Jim Lee costume. So starting off at the head, you do have the nice brown hair molded in, and it's got contours, and it's going different sorts of ways, and it's spiky, poking up here and there, and all around. You got some line work in the head. That is really nice. Let's get up a little higher. And then coming around to the back, again, you got the hair just hanging off the face masks here. That is pretty cool. And then you have some skin tone from the front of the face, and then you have the visor, which is a nice bright yellow, and you do have the red strip going right down the center, and that is really nice. On the right side of the visor, you can see that it is cell shaded. Now this is from the animated series, so there is going to be cell shading throughout the figure, and it will basically all come from the right side, and that's indicative of the light source he's in coming from the other side, and this side being in shadow. So coming down to the center of the body, let's zoom back just a little bit. And you can see his costume is a base blue, which is fine, and it's not the darker blue that we got with the Love Triangle Cyclops. It's kind of a lighter blue, but not, I think, as light as the original Warlock Cyclops. So there's going to be a lot of differences in these three figures. Then you have your standard yellow straps that's going down his chest and comes around his neck, and unlike the others, these are molded on, and I love that. This is going to keep them in place and they're not going to move around. That is perfect. You have the nice red X symbol here, and then on this belt buckle you have a second one. You have pouches along the belt with some more cell shading right here on the pouches, which gives it kind of a darker tan look, and that goes down through the trunks. And then you will come to the arms. The right arm is basically got an entire strip of the cell shading that comes down to the glove and the cuffs. Now, these cuffs are still single pieces, so when you remove the hand, the cuffs can come off, so be careful of that. And on the other side, you don't have the cell shading, so there's nothing here. It's clean. And then coming down to the legs, you got some cell shading down the center here along these straps. Now these straps are molded into place. I love that. Nothing gave me more of a headache than messing around with the Cyclops and even the Havoc, and these little straps just fall off. It was very annoying. I'm glad they've molded these in this time. And that will bring you down to the boots, and the boots again have some cell shading on them, and it kind of has this mustard look on them instead of the bright yellow all the way, which is okay, I guess. And the straps on top of the boots here are molded into place, unlike the other Cyclops, so that is a plus. And coming around to the back, not a lot of detail on the back that we wouldn't expect. There's no cell shading on the back. I guess they didn't want to waste their time because you're not really going to see them from the back. So all in all, I think this is a very, very beautiful figure. When we did the Love Triangle Cyclops, I said that I would prefer that we had the lighter blues of the Warlock and the brighter yellows of the Love Triangle, and it only took 3 years, but here it is. Now, if we could just get rid of this cell shading, I think we'd have a perfect Cyclops. So I'm going to put him right here, and I'll put a picture of the original Warlock Cyclops next to him, and you can see there's the differences because the yellow is more of a golden yellow on the Warlock Cyclops, and then the bright blues just stand out really nicely. And I think another big difference you can see between the two is the straps, and though by looking at it you can't tell the difference in the straps, there is a big one when it comes to having them molded in and just put on the figure. And for another comparison of Cyclopses, here he is with the Love Triangle Cyclops, which had the leather jacket on, which gave us different molded arms, and you can see the blues are darker here and the yellow not as bright as the animated series one. But the updates that they made with these straps is just beyond night and day. This is definitely the far superior figure in my opinion. All right, moving on. Now, just for fun, because this Cyclops didn't come with any alternate heads, I do have the three that came with the Love Triangle Cyclops, which is the standard head with the visor, the head with the squared off glasses, and the head with the rounded glasses. So let's take a look and see what these heads look like on this Cyclops body. And here we have the standard Love Triangle head on the animation body, and it looks great. I don't really see a difference. I know the yellows are slightly different. The animated yellows are supposed to be brighter, but you can't really tell based on how this comes across, at least on camera, I think. Even in the naked eye, it's barely noticeable, and you get a little more articulation with the head. The head can actually wiggle, waggle, go around. It can go down a long ways and up a long ways, but it is a little small and it doesn't cover the neck completely, so you do kind of break your mold if you aren't careful. But like this, I think that is a great head sculpt, and I wouldn't mind just keeping it on there like that. So that is really cool. All right, let's check out the other head sculpt. And here you have Cyclops with the squared off visor look, and I think it's okay. I really wasn't a big fan of this head to begin with, but you can see it has the same type of issue that the previous one had, in the fact that, you know, it doesn't sit fully on the neck and it kind of looks like it's a little small. But are you really going to be able to tell? I don't think so. This is an okay look, so if you're looking for the squared off visor look. All right, moving on. And here he is with the rounded glasses look, and it's okay. Kind of makes him look angry, I think. I don't really like these glass looks. I like the visor strictly, but it's okay. Again, the head a little small for the peg of the neck, but it will do if you kind of like it. It's going to be up to you, like all of these alternate heads that I've suggested to you. The actual best one, I think, so far is going to be the regular visor head. So I think that was really neat if you want the darker hair as opposed to the light brown hair. All right, moving on. And for articulation, starting the head can go around 360 degrees. It is on a hinge, so it could look up a long way and it could look down a long way. You don't get a lot of wiggly waggly in it, but there is a little bit. Coming down to the shoulder can go around 360 degrees. It is on a butterfly hinge, so it can go in and out, which is really cool. He does have a bicep rotation, 360 degrees, which comes down to your elbow, which is a double jointed elbow. Brings it up really good. A lot of motion there. Bring that down. Forearm rotation does not exist. And then you get down to the hands, and then you get rotation 360 degrees and hinged in and out, depending on which hand you have on. I think they're all hinged. And that is pretty cool for arm articulation. Coming to the center of the body, you do have an ab crunch, straight down and back a little bit. You do have waist articulation, 360 degrees, which is cool. Coming to the legs go up a long way, back not as much because the butt gets in the way, as with all Marvel Legends figures. Coming out to the side, you get a lot of motion. Then rotation for thigh, got 360 degrees. Coming down to the knee bend, double jointed, which gets it up a long way. Love that. Good motion there. Coming down to the boot cut 360 degrees. I like that. And the foot is on a hinge, so it can hinge up and down, and it can rock around the world 360 degrees. A lot of good articulation in this fellow. Pretty much anything you want him to do, he can do. Bend, sort, twist. It's really cool. All right, moving on. And full comparison, here you have Cyclops with his blue Strike Force members: Psylocke, Beast, Gambit, Wolverine, Rogue, and Jubilee. And this is the more comic book accurate version of these characters. Even though he is part of the animated series, I think Cyclops works really well with this group. I love this Cyclops figure. All right, moving on. And here you have Cyclops with the rest of the animated X-Men. Kind of. It's not from the same line, but they are from different series. Make up the same characters in the same costume. You have Gambit, Rogue, Wolverine, Storm, Jean Grey, Beast, and Jubilee. And I think this is an awesome looking set. And even though Cyclops does have some cell shading on him, I think he fits in really well, and you can't really tell unless you zoom in real close and you kind of do a deep dive comparison. But you know, I think I have a solution for that, but we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the video. All right, moving on. And this has been the Marvel Legends X-Men, the animated series Cyclops in the VHS packaging. And this is a fantastic figure. This is the figure that I talked about wanting 3 years ago when I did the Love Triangle pack. The yellows are bright, the blue is bright, and I just think it's an awesome sculpt and mold. A very good update from the last two that we got, and I love the fact that these straps are now glued down or molded into the figure, because messing with them was the worst part of the last two, and this is such an improvement. I love it. The only thing that kind of gives me annoyance is the cell shading, and that's to be expected because this is based on the animated series. So, I mean, I guess nothing can be perfect unless you make it perfect. And I'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. So the articulation is great. Again, it's a new mold, so the body can do different things. That can twist and turn a little more than the previous Cyclopses could. And it's just an all-around great looking figure. It doesn't have the optic blast accessories like the, I think, X-Factor Cyclops came with. I mean, it seems that he's shooting them from the box. It would indicate that it would come with it. But no, you just get alternate hands, which are okay, I guess. So, for the most part, I love it. I would highly recommend it, especially if you didn't get the last two, because one, they were hard to find, and two, they're very expensive. You can find this guy on sale right now at Hasbro Pulse, which is where I got him, for about $27, but then you'll have to factor in shipping, so maybe $34, $35 is what he'll come around to, or you can maybe pick him up in comic shops or something. I've never seen him or any of the other VHS box sets at Walmart's or Target, so it may just be one of those figures that you can get at online retailers. But anyway, I think he looks great with your comic book X-Men and your animated series X-Men. And that's gonna be the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And before we go, if you are interested, my plans with this particular figure is to remove the cell shading by using some paint thinner or brush cleaner. I've seen it done a few times. I'm going to try it. If you're interested in seeing how that works, keep watching, because at the end of the video, I am going to discuss how I'm going to do it, and then we will see how it turns out. But if you're not interested and you want to cut out, I hope you guys have a great night, and until next time, keep playing. And welcome back. Okay, so if you're here, you kind of want to see me try to improve this figure. Now, the figure is great, okay? I like the light blues. I like the light yellows. To me, that's the best part about Cyclops. But they couldn't just give us that. They had to kind of throw in some cell shading. And I get that, and that will make it, you know, obviously part of the animated series, and that's becoming a big deal. They got cell-shaded Turtles and cell-shaded Spider-Man and cell-shaded a lot of stuff, but I think it just doesn't add much to the character and the figure. But that's just my opinion, and as such, I have researched a way to take out the cell shading, and it's going to be a fairly easy routine. First off, I want to kind of show you what I mean. Like here on the right side of his visor, you have the dark part of the visor here. That is cell shaded. That is just a simple paint that's gone over the bright yellow plastic. Same as here on his strap, and same as here on his belt and his shorts, his glove cuff, and his boots. Okay, the cell shading on the legs, on the blue, I don't really mind, and there's a little bit here in the ab section, which I don't mind, but this arm section, it just looks weird. It's an entire streak of blue that doesn't show up over here, and I get it because this is where the light source is coming from this way, so this part would be in the dark. But this little part here, and this cuff, and again, I don't really like that, and I think this figure would look 100% better without these little cell shading. So what I'm going to do in order to get rid of it is basically just use some good old-fashioned brush cleaner and restorer, which you can get at any hobby shop. And what I'll do is I will pour that into this little medicine cup and then use some Q-tips to kind of go over the parts where I think needs to come off. And it shouldn't be too hard. A little bit of this chemical should wipe that clear away, and we will see how it works. I'll start with the boots and come right back to you. All right, so that's what we're going to do, and by the time I'm finished, we will see how he looks. All right, be right back. And here we are. That was so easy to get that cell shading off, and now you have bright yellow boots with no weird mustard streaks on them. That is awesome. All right, that was so easy. I'm going to go ahead and do all of the other yellow, and then we will come back to see what he looks like with no yellow cell shading. All right, give me just a minute. And here we have the figure with all of the cell shading on the yellow removed, and it looks fantastic. Starting at the boots, nice bright boots, bright straps on the thighs, clean gloves and cuffs, nice yellow belt. The strap is now free of the little tan part, and coming up to his visor, that is so bright and yellow. Let's move it around to the side so you can see it is the same color all the way around. That is beautiful. I love it. I love it. And of course there's nothing on the back, so wow. If you are going to do this, however, I will give you a kind of a warning that when you get down here to the belt section, the cell shading on this first pouch is kind of close to the belt, so if you are not careful while you're doing this, it will bleed over to the belt, and the belt will start to change to yellow because that is just painted black. So I did have to touch that up a little bit, but still I think hardly noticeable. And I think this figure looks 100% better without the cell shading. Now the last thing I think I want to do is take the cell shading off of this side arm and all the way up to the neck. I don't like that because there's nothing over here to match. So that will be the final removal of the cell shading I think I'm going to do. I do like it on the legs here, and I do like it in the abdomen. Okay, let's do it. And here we have the finished product. The blue on the right side has been taken off, so now it's just blue plastic. If you lift up the arm a little bit, this portion right here had some dark blue for cell shading as well. I took that off, and he looks fantastic. It is just perfect in my opinion. The blues aren't too dark, the yellows are bright, and he looks like the Cyclops I've wanted in my collection since I started the X-Men Blue Marvel Legends kick all those years ago. And I think if you guys would like to try this, it is very simple. All you have to do, like I said before, is use some brush cleaner and restorer. This is from Winsor & Newton. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby for like $7. Use some Q-tips and make sure you are very careful because this strips away all the paint. So if you got just regular plastic, then it's fine. But like I said, with the belt was kind of painted black. If you get too close, you will start disintegrating the black there. It's something that you can decide for yourself if you want to do. I thought it would look good without the cell shading, and I think I'm right, so yeah. Alright guys, that is finally the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and if you try this at home and you aren't old enough to drive, get your parents' help because these chemicals are dangerous if it gets in your eye or anywhere else, okay? Alright guys, that's it. That's the video. Have a great night, and I'll catch you later.